Hi, everyone, and welcome once again to this new episode of the Walking for Peace podcast. I am here once again with my beloved and mighty companion and pilgrim partner, Alberto. Hola, Alberto.
Hello.
And here we are, continuing once again our journey that we left off the last time with the unforgettable experience that we had with Don Giovanni, following on another incredible experience that we had Christmas Eve with our angel Serafino and Loretta, who welcomed us into their home. This is all still during the Christmas season. This is all still during a time when our emotions are running high, and at the same time, I would say the uncertainties are still there. I can say on my part, there were still doubts there, the questions of, am I doing the right thing? Are we doing the right thing? We're very far away from home, and this is such a different thing than I would normally be doing with my life, and so completely contrary to how I lived my life. And so the doubts and the questions and the uncertainties were walking along with me at the same time that all the miracles were showing up time and again to reinforce the fact that we are not walking alone and that we are indeed on the right path, and that all we really had to do was to keep walking. Is that kind of how you would looked at it too, Alberto?
Yeah, for sure. That was the thing. You had maybe that uncertainties, and I maybe had others. For me, maybe it was a little the weight that I didn't know how I would handle the future, especially economically. Even, but I knew that the Spirit or God had confirmed me that I would receive everything that I would need, and that was the right path. The signs were very clear, and I was trusting. But still, I didn't know was the certainty. Okay, let's go to see what happened in the future. When is how I'm going to get the money for the expenses that maybe I have, but it was leaving all in the hands of God. And for me, it was more that as uncertainty. I knew that I was doing the right thing. I didn't know how things were going to develop, but I knew that would be shown in the future. But was more a little the thing that okay. Let's a little that uncertainty of how the things will happen, how the future will develop, but always it was very clear that we were being guided. There was no doubt about that. Yeah.
Definitely, no doubt about that, and definitely being shown that we are being provided for. That although you think you have needs, your needs are cared for. Don't worry about that. Just walk. And I think that was being shown to us over and over again, and it will be shown to us again today on this episode. It's another highlight of our journey, and it's one of the stories that we also talk about in the book. And it picks up essentially from where we left off, leaving Don Giovanni, saying our goodbyes to him, and beginning our descent from the mountains. We had been walking in the foothills of the Apennine Mountains up until that moment, and we began, going down away from the mountains, heading towards the coast. We're going kind of northeast, heading towards the nearest big city, which was Rimini. And
We were going to the Adriatic coast,
exactly.
in the direction of with the intention to go to Slovenia, to the north, to go to Venecia, Slovenia, and after continue for the Croatian coast, no, around. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of the overall idea. So we were just, it seemed the most logical to stick close to the coastline, right?
coastline.
That you would get to the coast at Rimini and then continue along the Adriatic coast from one side, go over at Venice, like you said, and then continue down the other side of the Adriatic, into parts of the world that I had never even really known about.
Not me either. Not me either.
But that would be in the future for a future adventure that we would begin walking. But for today, it was, we were heading towards Rimini. It's a city on the coast, and one of the first things that kind of hit me as we entered the city, I think it was the first big city that we had walked into. I had walked out of Rome on my own, and that was kind of the city, the only city. But from there on in, it was all just towns, little villages, little hamlets up in the mountains, side roads. They weren't exactly like metropolises or big cities where there were a lot of people and a lot of attention. And so in a way, the villages and the mountains were protection. You felt like you were being protected. You were out there, but not so really out there,
Small communities.
small
too.
communities. And so it felt more manageable. But as soon as we started to enter into Rimini, all of a sudden I really felt, and I don't know what happened and I don't know where it came from, but I felt like I was being assaulted on all levels. I really felt very, very exposed, very different, very vulnerable. It felt like every set of eyes were staring at me, and not in a good way, like judging me. And obviously, this is all my perception, right? Because it always comes back to the perception of each individual and how they're interpreting
Yeah, because
what they're seeing around them.
I was not seeing nothing of that. So I was not feeling assaulted or anything. All the contrary, I was only happy because I knew that we were going to the coast. I knew that we were living the ups and downs of the mountains,
True.
and we could see the sea already and going into the city, and the idea was going to walk to the beach. That make me happy. Feel happy because it's like my hometown in Spain is Cadiz, and it's a town with beaches, and it was like to be close to home, no? And it really was because when we finally arrived to the coast and to the beach, it looked like the beaches in my city here in Cadiz. The same beautiful clear sand, and the sea was blue and calm and like a mirror. It was very, very beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's go not too advanced, because before to arrive to the beach happened a couple of things, no?
Well, it was more again the perception and the interpretation that I was what was happening to me. Like I said, it was all of a sudden I felt like a fish out of water. If we're going to use the analogy of the sea, I didn't grow up near the water. I grew up in Ottawa, which is more landlocked. So, but the feeling that was that I just felt really out of place. And it was, I don't know why I didn't feel it in the mountains, but definitely in the city, everywhere we walked, and we were walking along streets, city streets. We were passing by people who were going to work. And at one point we passed, for example, some, I think that's why I started grumbling to you. I could feel that I was becoming grumpy. I was not happy. I could see that you were happy. And we would say in the book, you were annoyingly happy. But I was not happy. I was just feeling very grumpy. I was kind of closing off. I was starting to close off. I was starting to feel withdrawn. I just kind of put my head down. I didn't want to look at anybody. I just felt like I was being judged, even though, like you say, there was nothing to indicate I was being judged. I was interpreting it as being judged. And so I just kind of turned inwards. I could feel myself just closing off from the world rather than kind of being open to it.
And maybe the fact that I was trying to, because I felt that you were being in a very bad mood, I was trying maybe to show you all the good things of
Yeah,
what
I
we
know.
were doing and how you didn't feel. I felt your resistance, and maybe this didn't help because I was annoyingly happy, how you say, and it was making you more miserable, maybe.
It's like when you're miserable, when you're grumpy, it's like, just let me be grumpy. Don't try to make me feel better. I just wanted to be grumpy. And so that's not really, the way to walk, especially when you're carrying that kind of, you're walking for peace and yet you're grumpy and don't talk to me. And, why are you looking at me so strange? And I think kind of the trigger for that was we walked past what looked like a school, like a high school kind
It
of
was a
thing.
high school.
Yeah, and there were some kind of young people, standing around, and we walked past them. And, I heard like, snickers and like, yeah, right, haha, caminando per la pace. And so I just felt you were trying to say to me, look, we're walking and we don't know who this sign is touching. You don't know who this message could receive, and they could receive it and it could make their day. And I'm saying, well, look at them. It's not making their day. They just think we're just weird people walking here.
Exactly, because for me, the fact that there was so many more people looking at us, we were carrying the signs, then I think this is a better opportunity to see that the people see this weird thing in us, people walking for peace in these times where look that peace is important, no, after the September 11 and all that year. Then who knows how this is affecting? Maybe it's only make them thinking about peace, or what they could do to contribute to peace in their own way. Who knows how this can be touching to anybody? Then for me it was a great thing that there was more people looking at us, at least in that moment, because I know that there was other moments where I didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
That was another moments that where to see a lot of people looking at me weird. It made me feel maybe the same sensations that you were feeling, but at that morning I was so high and you were so low. That was the truth. I don't know. Don't know what.
Yeah.
What was.
And you know what? Had I been more centered and not feeling so insecure, I probably would have agreed with you and said, well, yeah, of course, this is now the opportunity we're carrying. We have made this decision. We have felt guided to kind of put on these signs. Let's trust in that. And let's trust that this message is going to be received by whoever needs to receive it. And that's not up to us. But in that moment, I wasn't there. I think my insecurity, my fear, my doubts, all of it was kind of playing out in the scene that was all around me, of feeling rejected. But that was just reflecting my own sense of I'm not sure that I'm doing the right thing here.
Yeah. And one thing that made me feel a little worry in some way was that you started to say, no, we are not going to do this anymore. We are going to come back to the mountains tomorrow. Very certain, very, very sure. Tomorrow we come back to the mountains. And I was thinking, that is a mistake. To come back to the mountains is a mistake. This is beautiful. This is flat. There is so many more churches and places to eat. This is great. This is beautiful. But I didn't want to force you or try to convince you, because clearly you were in the moment upset. And then I trusted and I say to God, I say to life. I was reading in my diaries that at that time I called God life too. And I think it's a good way to call it. It's life, because I could feel God everywhere around me, in myself and in everything. And then I say, okay, it's in your hands, life. Will be your will. Your will be done, and let's go to trust. And then is when happened the next step.
Well, then we made it to the water, and you were just saying to me, Moni, come to the water, come on the sand.
To the sidewalk.
It's a beautiful, it was the seawalk. It was beautiful. There was like a big promenade area where you could walk, and a long sandy beach, like you said, with very clear, very calm blue water. It was really very beautiful and very calming.
And there was less people there.
There were hardly any people
for the center.
Sure.
Maybe it was because it was winter. There was less people in the seawalk, and then I felt that you started to calm down a little.
Yeah.
And then it came the idea to me that we could walk for the sun, for the hard part of the beach, the hard part of the sun in the beach, like we do here in Cádiz now. No,
back then I didn't know about any of that.
No, nothing about that. Then we could go. It's beautiful. The air. We could see the seagulls all around. There was a good weather in that moment. And they go, let's go to try. And you didn't know, you were not sure because you had not done that before. But I said, trust in me. And I remember that I lent you my hand.
You gave me your hand.
Give me your hand. Let's try this. If not, we come back. And then you decided, and you say yes. And then we started to walk into the sun.
That's right.
Into the sun, towards the church.
Yeah, towards the hard path to sand.
And then that is when immediately after, when we started to do that, is when we hear this strong noise. You remember?
Yeah, it was basically like a screech, the screech of a brake, the brakes of a car. Someone had basically come to a halt, a screeching halt, just a little bit further ahead of us on the promenade. But it was like they were partly on the promenade and on the sand going down onto the beach. It must have been like an entrance area, an area where you could actually, there was a break on the wall, or a little ramp or something like that. Yeah.
But we, and at the beginning when we saw that, because it was very strong, that somebody has forced that move, we thought that it was an accident, maybe, that somebody had going out or from
the street,
the street into the beach. But it was not that way, because immediately we saw that the driver of the car. Maybe he was about 50 meters from us or something like that. He was waving at us from the window, and he was calling at us, very, with big movements, no, with the hands. And we went close to him. What is happening here? And then
Yeah. And then it was just all very surreal. He's like you say, he's motioning for us to come over. And obviously the first reaction is you're relieved, right? Well, relieved. Okay,
that
nothing,
was not an
there's not an accident. He actually wanted to, to kind of park his car right there. And we come over to him. And as soon as we get there, he is just opening up his wallet, and he is holding out some bills in his hands, and,
With-
and
with
it-
a- with a
with a just a
child-
like a
childlike-
childlike smile,
smile,
innocent
big eyes.
smile, big eyes. And I look at him, I can feel it now. Oh my God, I can just feel it even to this day. I look at him, and I say, it's okay. We're okay. We don't need it. We're just, He goes, what are you doing? I said, we're just walking. We're walking to Jerusalem for peace. And his eyes just well up. His eyes just well up with tears, and my eyes begin to well up with tears.
And my eyes were,
your eyes were welling up with tears.
with tears too.
And then I say to him, I shake his hand and I say, thank you. I said, what's your name? And he said, Nicolas. I said, Nicolas, thank you, grazie, thank you so much. And then you did the same thing.
I went to him and I said, thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. And it was for me, I felt like it was because Nicholas is the saint of Santa Claus, no? It's the saint of Christmas. Then for me, I felt like it was the Holy Christ. The Holy Christ had come to us, to say, what you are doing is good, that what you are doing is inspiring others, that what you are doing is the right path. That was what I felt. And obviously I understood that in our movie, in that in the movie that we were living, that scenario where the scene that we were living, where the Christ was showing us the truth and showing us the way. What must have happened is that this guy he saw us in the road or in the street walking with the signs in our backpacks. Correct. And he followed us, and he was following us. We didn't see, and in the moment that we decided to go to the beach, he didn't want to lose us.
That's right.
And then he went into in that way so crazy. He went into the beach with the car. I don't know how he went into the sand even. Only to show what he was feeling in his heart, I want to contribute with peace. What you are doing is great. Thank you. And show that. But we were talking a little before, that we don't know how we are touching people with this that we are doing. We are spreading peace. We are being messengers of peace. We are not the writer of the message. We are not the ones that are creating the message. We are bringing the message of peace, and God is the one, or life, the font, the source, the font is what is bringing the message to everybody in the way that they can or they need to receive it. Right. And that is what we are doing, and that is a holy thing that we are doing, and it's great, especially for us. And all that I felt in that moment. Another amazing thing that I felt that happened in the moment that you release a little your resistance. Right. Don't you think that was
for sure? No, for sure, because it was. I think it had been building up. I was just resisting, angry, and I think a part of it too is I was angry at myself. How can you still, feel after, and let these worries and these doubts still stop you from truly accepting all that you are doing and how you're being carried and the message that you're carrying, and trusting that this message is going to be received by the ones that life, the universe, God knows are ready to be receiving it. But that's not your part. Your part is to walk and trust that you will be led as you are to be led. And Nico was like, I was shell shocked for a while. I didn't know what to do with it. It was overwhelming. It was incredibly overwhelming that someone would just come to you and just with this great innocence, this great love, just wanting nothing more but to give you. And do you not think, now looking at it, you had started by saying that you still had your doubts and worries about money, about how you were
Yeah,
going to be
yeah,
able to pay
yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
And here you were, and you know, I didn't know that back then, but here you are having that, and then Nico comes with the gift. Say, here, and everything that you want, just take. He opened his wallet, like he literally opened his wallet and just said, here, take.
Yeah.
But we didn't in that moment.
We
No, we just
didn't
didn't
in
feel.
that way. I didn't feel that was the right thing. I think
Yeah,
that a big miracle had happened,
yeah,
and even when I think what was needed to be give was given was given already. That was the message we had. Maybe bring a message to him, and through him had come a message to us.
yes,
And it's that precisely that we are doing is appreciated. And it's appreciated and it's very valuable. And for that, I felt, no, thank you. And I felt that the right thing in that moment was to show him really that we appreciate his offer, but really was not about money.
yeah,
What we were doing, it was more about the intention and the trusting in that was the right way. I don't know. I felt I had no words, but in the moment, it was not only because you say no, thank you.
yeah.
It
But
was
it was,
to,
yeah, it was more than that. It wasn't like a
it was
rejection. It was
exactly.
more like, yeah, there
Yeah,
was something more
yeah.
happening that was beyond that.
Yeah, the miracle had happened already, and I remember that even in the way that he said his name when we asked it to him, how's your name, my friend? And he said, Nico. I was crying, and I bring tears to my eyes too when I remember it was he gave us a great gift,
Yeah.
because the day, that day affected us so much.
Oof.
It stay in our memories. That miracle what happened just in that moment. I'm sure that we would have come up from that moment. You will have come back again to
For
your
sure.
normal high mood too. But the way that happened, in the moment that happened, and just after the day of Christmas, because Christmas was the day before,
That's right.
and and it was Saint Nicholas that came to us, the Christ, in the vision of that we were having already, the Christian mystics
Yeah.
vision of the Christ. It was coming to us in that moment, in that way. It was so miraculous, as you say, so beautiful.
Yeah.
And after we say goodbye to him. You remember we
Yeah.
say goodbye to him. Thank you, hugs and
Hugs.
kisses, and we go. And still we are walking maybe 100 meters ahead or 200, and he's still in the car.
That's
And we
right.
look back, and he's still waving, and he cannot move. And I was thinking, how does he can go out?
Does he need our help to get out? Do we have to push the car out? Yeah.
But like you, I could see how you were crying all the
God,
way
I
walking.
I couldn't stop crying
Yeah.
after that. I was just, like I said, the mixture. It was a mix of thank you, God,
Exactly.
and then it was
happy
the
crying.
guilt of how could I still doubt? I was beating myself up. I was, just all of it at the same time. It's like I'm getting sign after sign, confirmation after confirmation to say love is walking with you. You have nothing to fear. Do not fear. Do not worry. And yet I still fear and I still worry and I let all the judgments get to me and then I beat myself up for it. And then comes the confirmation to say, don't beat yourself up. I am walking with you. And so it was just a very emotional time, like very, very emotional,
And I remember that.
but grateful. Now grateful.
Exactly, was
Grateful.
a happy crying in some way.
Yeah,
Many
God.
things were happening.
Yeah.
And when I say that I could see that you were crying, I don't know how I could see that you were crying because I was crying too.
It's true.
Yeah, for me, I was with tears because obviously I recognized that something great
Yeah.
had happened
Yeah.
in that moment. Then and I remember that even you wrote this in the book that you were that was a sentence or some words that came
Yeah.
to your mind when you were reflecting in all this, like you hear an inner voice, no, that was telling to you.
Yeah. And I'm looking at it in the book right now. And what I wrote in my diary was never underestimate the power of this path that you have chosen. And that was just like a very clear thought, very clear inner voice that was speaking to me as I was walking, saying, do not underestimate this. I clearly still had a lot of inner turmoil, a lot of inner dialogue that was not helpful, that was not supporting me. It was my own fears, of course, which I've spoken about before. All of that was preventing me from truly appreciating and being fully present for the power of what we were doing, for the importance of what we were doing, because that little voice in you that wants to keep telling you you're inadequate and who are you and this is not doing anything, this is not serving anyone, not serving anything, no matter how many signs you get. And look, people are laughing at you, people don't understand you, people will never understand you. That's really what was preventing me from truly standing in the full power and the full presence and the full grace of what was happening in that moment. I appreciate that now.
Yeah.
But and that's something I needed to work through and walk through.
Yeah, but at the same time, we must be clear. This day, I could say that was the lowest that
Yeah.
where you felt that way in all our work until
I
that
would
day.
agree. That was the day.
And I think for that is so grateful, so miraculous that day that you were so low, because you usually were in a high mood too. And you had your things that you didn't like, and you were very clear to say them. But usually you were in a very high mood. That was that day that you were so low. Um, and it was funny because the morning started very well, because even there was a guy that stopped to us. You don't remember, but I had in my diary that there was a car that stopped to us and offered us to bring us to Rimini in their car. And they didn't understand the thing of the pilgrimage. No, we are walking, but you want to walk? We can bring you in the car. Trying to be nice, but no, thank you so much. But we could feel the good spirit too. But still, you had that day you had that life, and that was the dark night of the soul was.
Maybe.
But it was not always that way, not at all. That was that special day then. For we don't want that the people believe that you were always in the mood. You were not in the mood. You were in a high mood many times, and I was sometimes in a low mood too. It's but this is the marvelous of all this, that just in the worst moment, in the moment that you open yourself a little, happened this, that it was really a gift. And the funny thing, and because we are going to talk about that was not only that one, the great event that happened that day, because immediately after we had another one. Huge, amazing, that too is an icon of the big things that happen to us. There happened many, no, but this was another big thing that happened, and was only half an hour or less than 1 hour later of this encounter with Nico. Do you remember?
No, of course. It was just, we're walking away from the car, we're crying, the tears are rolling down our face. And at the same time, I would say we walked for about a half an hour, 3/4 of an hour. The skies changed, it became dark, a light rain started to fall. And we thought we need to go find shelter. We need to go find someplace. And we looked around and we just headed for the first church that we saw. And I don't know if you have it in your diary, but in my diary it says there was just like a big star on top of that church.
Oh yeah, because I remember that when we were walking in
For Christmas,
for Christmas,
Yeah.
and we always follow the star, like the wise men. We had this kind of, we follow signs. We follow the yellow brick roads, like in the Wizard of Oz. We talk about that, I think, or the yellow arrows of the El Camino. We follow the places where there was yellow flowers.
That's right.
There was a sign, or butterflies that appear in the morning. And we were following the star like the wise men did when they followed the star of that brought them to the birth of Christ, no? To Bethlehem. Then many times when we saw stars, we went there, and especially when it was a church. And it's what we did this time too, because we saw like a sign to go there.
Yeah. And that's what we did. We entered. There was hardly anybody in the church.
Yeah, it was
there
empty.
was. It was hardly. Yeah.
Very
there
dark too. Very, very dark. The church
I
was
do remember.
very.
Yeah, I have that in my diaries too. That it was dark. And that there had some nativity displays around the church, and we just walked in, and I didn't want to be with anybody, and I know you didn't want to be with them. We just kind of separated for a little bit, and I think we were just trying to get a hold of our emotions. I know I was just kind of just let's center again, just still kind of feeling the effects of what had just happened and how it radically changed everything that I was feeling before to this feeling of just tremendous, tremendous gratitude and emotion and just overwhelmed.
And to feel that we were being
Accompanied and
held,
held,
that
comforted.
that the life was with us and
That's
was
right.
supporting and was talking to us and telling, "Don't worry, I am with
Yes.
you. All is going to be well."
That's right.
Yeah.
And then an older woman walks into the church, and I notice her, but I don't want to be with anybody right now. But she is, the what you would describe, and like from the movies, the older woman, kind of with that. I think she was she wearing a scarf around her head? I don't remember
I
that.
don't remember
I'm not
it.
going to say that she did, but she was an older woman, very kind, little
Gray hair.
petite, gray hair. And she was just, very, very tiny and just with a kind face. And I was just kind of pretending to be examining the display and not really wanting to be near anybody. And, I turn around and there she is. She's standing right beside me. And she's very kind, she's got a very sweet face, very
Buonasera,
lovely. Buonasera, buongiorno. I was like, buongiorno. And she's, what are you doing? And so I explained, that we are, caminando verso Gerusalemme per la pace. By then I knew how to say these words very well. And it was like something out of a movie. She just looked at me and her hands came out and she cupped my face. She placed her hands, like each hand on the side of my face, and she just kept saying, "Bless you, God bless you, la Madonna, the lady. She walks with the mother, walks with you." And then she comes and she just gives me a kiss on each cheek and she's just stroking my face and she said, "Molto bene, bene." And she was saying, "Don't fear, don't be afraid. La Madonna, the lady, the Virgin, the Holy Mother walks with you." And I'm bawling. I'm bawling. And she's I was like, totally. And I hug this lady and I give her a hug and I'm bawling on the shoulders of this woman I don't even know. And I can't control the emotion and all the love that was coming at me, all of the kindness, all of the generosity that was being poured on me. And she just kind of just held my face and then Alberto came over and
I was in the other side of the church.
That's right.
And I look back and I go, what is doing money with that old lady? Still I was in my wonder like you. I was like in another world. I was in the dream world. That was like a oniric experience. I was lucid dreaming. What is this? And then I decided to come close to you because I saw how she was treating you, and you were crying there with
I was sobbing.
sobbing.
I was sobbing. And when you came over, I introduced you. I said, this is my walking partner. And she did the same thing to you.
She came to me, and I could see, and my eyes started to water into it. She came to me with a very sweet, tender smile, big eyes, looking at me like she was some kind of an angel or a saint, or I don't know. And she get my face in her hands too, and she, like you say, stroking my face, and she gave me 2 kisses, and she was saying exactly the same. "God bless you, my son, the Holy Mother and the Holy Father are with you. Don't worry, don't be afraid. You are going to be well. They are accompanying you, and bless you, my son." And was this? For me, it was God directly talking to us. So, and all His angels and life itself, Holy Spirit, it was talking to us through this lady that was opening herself to bring that message. She was being a messenger there. She was being a channeler of the light and all the love. And that was, twice in the same day, in less than 1 hour, to happen this, in a day that started so dark and so low, how this shifted when our spirit, when our mind shift a little, and Holy
And we
Spirit.
open our hearts and we release, and we release a little bit. You surrender. You just release the resistance. You drop it all. You drop the fight. You drop the resistance, and you just allow love to come in. Allow love to show you the way. Allow love to be the guide, not the fear. And
That was another proof. Like for me too, was a proof that really the problems that we had overall are, and we saw that in our journey many times, that the problems were emotional. We were the ones that we were putting all the obstacles there. And this is not to say for to blame ourselves. No. We were doing what we could. We had our moods and highs and low. We had our interpretations, and we were doing the best that we could. It's not but we need to recognize, to realize that, and not to blame ourselves, but to try to do, and especially to trust that there is something great with us that love us immensely, that don't judge us, and that is ready always with us there to help us to see things a little better.
That's right.
In the way that we can allow it, to see the things a little better. And in the moment that we open ourselves to do that, all start to change. The first things that come is peace. It's like came to you when we surrender, okay, I trust in you. Father, Mother, I trust in you. And then come a little of peace. And then is when life itself, God, Holy Spirit can come there and bring you what you need in that moment, what you are ready, what you need in that moment. And in the moment that we open our doors, this came in a beautiful way. First with Nico, and after with this lady, I don't remember her name.
Her name, we asked her name eventually, and she told us her name was Elsa. Elsa, she was from Padua. From Padua, the land of Saint Anthony, who I didn't know anything about. You would have to explain, because I didn't know, what it meant.
I knew Saint Anthony de Padua, and she told us you must go to Padua.
That's right.
And then was that we put in our schedule. But for me, Saint Anthony de Padua, he was a great saint, and I had read his history too and his life. And that was for sure was a great invitation. It was to the Saint of the Providence, and that we were starting to know, and I knew. Then was very symbolic to go to see his town, his place. But anyways, this was another amazing encounter. And after she went, the saying that she came in, she decided like floating, like a fairy or like an angel. She disappeared. Yeah. She brought her message with much love and appreciation, and after she flew out of the church in the same way. And there we were weeping, both. No, I think we gave a hug to each other in that moment. I think because we were aware of how amazing it was that moment.
Well, it was a miracle, right?
It was.
It was a miracle. It was if the floodgates had opened and we were being showered with all of this love and all of this presence and just this comfort and just saying, you're accompanied. Don't worry, all is well. And it would, we carried that, like that was something that you don't get over that. That's something that just stays with you. And, even as I was reading my diary, reading the book again, and I was like, I could feel the emotion of it. I could feel the intensity of it, because it's just one of those testaments in the book, and one of the experiences that stands out. There would be a couple of more that would be, you wouldn't think anything could top that, but there would be a couple that would be very close, close.
Because another thing that came to me from this experience is, I say to myself, I'm never going to doubt anymore.
Yes, same here. I will never doubt again until the next day.
Until the next day or 2-3 days after. How you forget? And that was another thing that I started to learn. Is how we can forget so fast the amazing experiences that we have in the moment that we start to feel a little afraid or a little low. And how the mind can play these tricks. And today the Course in Miracles will say the ego mind, no, the worry and the see itself like separate and small. How easy we can forget if we are not alert, if we vigilant, if we are not if we are not remember connecting with this love, this presence that work with us all the time.
That's right.
How easy we can lose it. But in the way that we can lose it so easily, we can so easily to remember. In the moment that we open ourselves, that what we need to let go is our resistance, and to trust, to trust in this guide, this amazing guide, this beautiful guide. And that work with us all the time.
Indeed. Well, after the emotions were still raw when we decided, okay, it's time to go find a place to sleep for the night. We still didn't have anywhere to sleep. we found the house of the priest, and we actually found the priest. He was in his house. I think we went to the house, but he was busy. Like he was, I have in my diaries that he seemed to be just in motion. He was in motion as we were explaining what we were doing.
He had something to do. I think you say about
I have in my diaries that we were explaining, and then he was saying no. The first thing he said to us was, no. He goes, no. Let me find you the address for the church in Rimini. That was what he said. And he kind of disappeared. He goes, I'll get you the address. He disappeared. He came back. He gave us the address. And we said to him, we looked and we said, thank you, but no, because that means going back. Because at this point we were walking out of Rimini and we were in a town called Viserba. So we weren't in Rimini. We were kind of further north.
Yeah.
And to go back to Rimini didn't make any sense. So we said, thank you. No, we'll find something else. And something happened in that moment because
I
he
think
said
he didn't realize that we were walking. Maybe
even though
we explain. Maybe he think he think in ways that you go in a car or something. No, you come back, you are there. But in the moment, I think he realized that we were walking, and to come back to Rimini, maybe it doesn't look so much in a car, but walking, is to walk back and tomorrow to walk again. Then they didn't make much sense.
Yeah, and that was, and I think that was when he said, okay, I have to go to a baptism. I'll be back in an hour. And that's what he said, wait for me, I'll give you something. And we said, okay, thank you. And his name was Romano, Don Romano, Father Romano. And we said, oh, thank you so much, thank you. And so we knew we had a place to sleep, so that was guaranteed. We went to the first bar that we found. We found a bar that was nearby. And in my diaries, I have that as we were walking into the bar, a group of like older gentlemen, there was about 10 of them I have. There were about 10 of them that were walking out. They were all very happy, and they look at us and they say, who are you? And we explain, who we are. We're pilgrims walking to Jerusalem. They're like, bene. They were just so happy. It's like,
buon
viaggio. And it's like, bravo ragazzi. That was another favorite that we heard a lot. Bravo ragazzi. And they were just so kind. And it was like, and the tears were starting to flow again. It's like all this kindness. And then they left, and we went to the bar and we waited for the hour or so that he asked us to, and we dried off. And then when we went back, he said, okay, he come with me, and he led us to a church hall. He had a church hall, but it was a nice church hall. From what I have in my diaries, it was nice, it was warm, and he had hot showers. And so we didn't have beds, but we had a warm place where we could lay out our sleeping bags and sleep. So that was okay. But then a strange part, which I think you have in your diary too. It's like, then he brought us, he came here, he left us, he came back, he brought us a bag of oranges.
Yes.
A bag of oranges, like a 5-kilo bag, I would say, because I had missed several. Maybe somebody had gifted him some oranges, I don't know, like a bag of oranges. And then he came back again with panettone. We were beginning to love panettone. Some like candies. He brought us like a handful of candies.
I don't remember that.
That's what I have in my diary. And the most unusual gift was a pair of unopened socks in their package.
Big socks.
Thick socks.
I remember that I saw, this is big even for me. These are big socks. Okay, thank you. I don't know, this was unexpected. Maybe there is something symbolic in this. Well, there was some symbolism with the oranges.
Yeah, not for me, but I know that for you that there was something there. For me, the socks were, I thought, what I have in my diary is, I don't think we will need them, but we are to deliver them somewhere. So they're coming with us, but they're going to be given to somebody, I don't know who.
I remember that you say that, because usually you were doing that. If somebody give us something, you keep it, we will give away to somebody else. And I was thinking about, keep the money at least. that will be good. Maybe you don't need it, but for me it will be good. The socks.
Yeah, that would become a point of contention very soon.
The socks, for me, I didn't need the socks, but okay, we will get the socks.
Well, at least we had dinner that night, right? We had dinner.
We had dinner
because we weren't going to carry 5 kilos of oranges.
No. We had orange and panettone for dinner, and we had orange and panettone for breakfast the next day too.
Right.
That is what we did. And the next day, I remember that the priest Don Romano told us that he had paid for us for coffees in the next bar. bar, but we had already had the orange and the panettone, and we didn't want to delay or starting to walk, no, in the morning, and then we say thank you, and we didn't go to the bar finally, but it was funny. And one day maybe I will say the meaning of the oranges, because it happened more times, and it's facing a dream that I have along the walk. I don't know.
Did you have the dream before,
I think it was later.
or was the dream after?
Was after.
I think the dream was after too.
Was after. Yeah. You are right. So the oranges started. For me, there must be some meaning in the symbol of the oranges, and it was late when it came. It was late when it came. Yeah, the meaning is more about it's like a symbol for me, at least in my symbolic world, we could say, or subconscious world, is a symbol of remember, to remember, to recover memory. That today will have a lot of meaning will be related to the teachings of the Course in Miracles, because the Course in Miracles say to us that we are not learning, really, we are not evolving, we are remembering who we are. And we have forget who we are, we have forget that we are the Holy Son of God, that all is good already, and we are dreaming in basing our belief and expectations, or belief or thoughts, and this is what is put in the world, how we see they are around us, and that the Holy Spirit or guide, that at that time we call it life, or the angels, or my friend, or God, or Jesus, or whatever. This guide is helping us to remember who we really are.
Yeah. Like Simba and the Lion King.
Yeah, you had forget who you are. Remember. And the orange was a symbol for that. And I will tell the dream when I write the moment. I will tell the dream because it was a very powerful dream that was in Croatia. We were already in Croatia when I had this dream that was very, very powerful.
Yeah. Well, for me, oranges represent the sun, because to me they look like the sun.
It also.
And it was like
also.
the sun, the sunlight, the light, the kind of the joy at the same time. An aspect of divinity, because to me the sun is also like a symbol for the divine. So the oranges were to me like another way of receiving confirmation of the divine, the joy, life is walking with you. And so that was another, for me, just another, I don't know, just another, as if I needed more that day, because it was already such an overwhelming day that, the divine is with you. The divine is with you.
And what is trying to remember, to help us to remember our guide and the Holy Spirit, or life itself, is trying to remember that we are the Son. We are the Son and the Son of God at the same time. No, we are the divinity. We are the one with it. Then it all connects too in the
I'm just realizing the day before we were in San Lorenzo, which you told me was the symbol of the sun, no? Which means the sun.
Yeah. Here, at least in Spain, Lorenzo is like the sun. Yeah, it's a name that represents the sun.
The Holy Sun.
The Holy Sun. Well, el Sol.
The Sol. I know the sun, pronounced in the two ways.
The sun and the sun.
Exactly.
The sun and the sun. No?
And so, yeah. And I think that, that was the one day. And I think this is a good place to leave it for now until we continue the journey coming down into New Year's and New Year's Eve. And so we will leave you with the experience of today. We hope that this story has, in its own small way, been an example of what happens when we are willing, even in the smallest way, to simply release our resistance and just be willing, even a little bit, to let love enter, to let fear drop, and to let love reveal itself, because it is not only with you, that love is in you, that love is all around you, and it is wanting nothing more but to reveal itself in our lives in every moment, but it is merely our own inadequacies, our own fears, our own judgments, our own false identifications, truly, our own past memories, so many things that get in the way of merely recognizing what is there. So
There is a sentence in the book, in the Course in Miracles, that I love, and maybe you are going to say in English properly, but this, that if you will know who walks with you. Do you remember how it follows?
You're
If you will
saying it
know,
perfectly.
if you will know who walks beside you. I don't remember exactly how. Of course, you will feel peace. You will feel love. You wouldn't feel any doubt about the path that you are walking.
Yeah. And the practice for each one of us is to trust that and to practice that, that willingness to surrender, that willingness to be shown another way, that willingness to heal what no longer serves, and to allow that love, that light, that sun, that true sun that we are, to actually guide us back home.
It's, or part is to remember. Remember who you are.
And with that, we will leave you, dear pilgrim. Remember, and buen camino.
Buen camino, and to the next time.
Until next time.